What's up, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel Ordinary E. As you know, I'm just an ordinary guy learning about tech and stuff, fixing things and giving them away to you guys if you're a subscriber. I was going to carry on with the laptops this episode, but then I saw this, and also we're going to be growing our bonsai tree using these. That's right guys, I may have finally got a graphics card 1080 GeForce GTX for the PC upgrade. So we're going to be starting our PC upgrade season, and along with that came a power supply, because in order to power these graphic cards that are higher end you need a higher power supply. It says 850 here. We don't know what's in the box. I do know what's in this box though, because I did check it, and yes, we have a 1080. You may be thinking, how is it still free? If you've been watching my channel, you'll know that we built the PC for free, and then we tried to make £10,000 a month. We haven't made £10,000 a month yet, but we have made some money, which is now paying dividends. But before we go over to the computer to show you how I'm doing it, first of all, as you know, in a previous video I made a deal with you guys, because you're not collecting the giveaways that I'm giving on the videos, because you're not watching the videos and not claiming the giveaways. I said I would build a bonsai tree, or sorry, I said I would grow a bonsai tree, and if I could grow a bonsai tree before you claim the giveaways, then I get to keep the giveaway and do whatever. I couldn't grow the bonsai tree, so my next best thing is to make a bonsai tree using Lego. There's 103 steps. It usually takes about 6 weeks for a bonsai tree to sprout. I'm going to add another 6 weeks for it to sort of grow at least, and that would have been it. So 12 weeks in total. 12 divided into 103 is 8.5. Going to call it 9 steps. So each video that I put out, I'm going to do 9 steps of growing the bonsai tree out of Lego. So let's get on to the first step. Alright, steps 1, 2 and 3 are on the same page. It looks like I have to find this piece, a couple of these pieces and another one of these pieces. So let's pick those out. And if you want to see the giveaways and the targets, if you don't hit the targets, which you're not very far away, I think there's only like 17 more subscribers, you'll hit the target. So you should hit 17 subscribers before I finish this bonsai tree in the next, what did we say, 12 weeks, which is 6 videos, because I basically post a video every 2 weeks. Well, I try to. So we're looking for 2 of these, and we need 2 of these. Okay, we've got all the pieces here, so all it says to do is to lock these into place. Easy enough. First 3 steps done, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, otherwise I get to keep all the giveaways. Alright, step 4. I need 6 of those. What are those? Alright, we've got 6 of these pieces, and I went over to number 5, and we got 4 of those and 4 of those. So these go around the edge. 4 and 5 are done. Alright, 6 and 7. We need a circular piece and 4 of those corner pieces and another 4 of these white dots. Okay, I found a circular piece, 4 corners. And by the way, this is second-hand, brand new, by the way, guys. So I don't even know if all the pieces are here. Alright, this goes in the center. 6 and 7 are done. Last 2, 8 and 9. Alright, we need 4 of those, 10 of those, 9 of those, and 4 of those. Okay, we've got those pieces. So these go on the side. And there we have it, guys. Our bonsai tree has started. So make sure you come back to see the next 9 steps in the next video. Let's get into this upgrade. Okay guys, so as you know, I built the best free PC on YouTube, and we upgraded it season over season to make it even better. However, it can currently only get 10 FPS on Destiny 2, and here are the other games: 15 FPS on Counter-Strike, 30 FPS on Eve, 98 FPS on Battlefield 2, and 250 to 300 FPS on GTA. Our goal was Destiny 2, and also to use DaVinci to edit. The way we're going to be upgrading it now, because no one's given away anything better than what I have, is by using the dividends. You see my previous video where I tried to make money online using £10,000 advice from YouTubers a month. You will know that I am now making over £155 a month on dividends. But what I say is, don't copy me, because I also lost £2,000 worth of stocks and shares because of the dip in stocks. I'm not going to get into that in this video, but in total we have 18,000 so far that we've made over 2.5 years. This is the 3rd year, so let's call it 3 years, because we're nearly halfway through this year. So that's how we're going to be doing it. As you saw by the advert, this GTX 1080 came up for sale for 50 bucks with a power supply. Let's just take a look at this power supply. Oh, it's a 650 power supply. So we're going to have to check some specs here, guys. I don't know how much power we need for the GTX 1080. Maybe the 450 power supply I have in there will do already, but I don't know if it has a connector, because I do know that this graphics card uses a connector for power, or additional power, as well as the PCI slot, which again we're going to have to check which PCI it takes. Doesn't tell you on the box, which it should. I think that's the thing. They should be telling you what PCIe slot you need. So we need to check our motherboard to make sure it's compatible. But let's pull this out and take a look at it. Again, brand new second hand, guys. It says on here VR ready, GTX GeForce nvidia. It does have 8GB GDR5X memory, so we got 8GB now instead of, I think we got 2. Can it play Destiny 2? A little piece here. So in the box we do get some paperwork. Is that a driver? We may get a driver on a disc. So we're going to have to update our drivers. So we're going to have to remove our driver and update it with our new driver. And we've got a World of Warships advertisement downloadable thing. And that's all I've got in this box. Quite stylish. Asus in search of a credible. So I guess this is an Asus card. So Asus Strix gaming card with the nvidia GTX 1080. Alright, let's take a look at it. There she is. And it's big. We're going to get my graphics card out later in the video and compare it. But wow. Got 3 fans. Does need a clean up. We got DVI, connector, HDMI. Oh, here's why these plugs are here. So we've got 1, 2. Oh, these are display port. And we've got HDMI and HDMI. So 2 HDMI, 2 display ports, 1 DVI. And where is the power go? Oh yeah, so there we go. So we've got an 8-pin connector and a 6-pin connector for power. That's a lot of connectors for power. I don't think my 450 power supply has that, which is good. So we got all of this, guys, so which is good that we got a power supply here, which I believe would be compatible. Need to check if that's working. And all of this was 50 quid. So we're going to be using £50 of £155 this month dividend payment to pay for this upgrade. And that's how we're going to do it. So each month we're going to save that money or dividend payments and make a purchase that's better in the system I have, and the redundant parts that come out of that system will go into another system that will be given away. Actually, I do need a second PC, so I'm going to have to build a second PC, so any redundant parts from the second PC, so the third PC will be yours. Alright, what do we do first? Let's test this power supply, then we can put the graphics card in if that power supply is working. If not, I do have a backup plan. I do have another power supply, and yeah, I think the first test this power supply because we're going to need more connectors, and I don't think my 450 has this. We'll check that anyway, but let's test the power supply in. But what do you think, guys? The 1080 Strix, we don't know if it works, don't know how well it works. We'll test it first, and then we're going to take it apart, and we're going to probably give it some new thermal paste, give it a good clean, and reinsert it back into the system, and then we're going to test out what FPS we get in the games from here on. What do you think of that plan, guys? As for the power supplies, it says on the box it's a Integra Thermod 850, but it's not. It's a Corsair 650. It is modular, so that's good. Never had a modular, so this is my first modular power supply, although it's not fully modular. These cables here are connected, so you can't take these out. They are CPU and they are motherboard power. Okay, yeah, so this is the PCIe. So this is your graphics card power. Another graphics card power. Then we've got some black cables for storage and other devices. Another cable, type 4. The power supply plug. Got some screws, some nice matching black screws. Some rubbish, some more rubbish, cable ties, and some bubble wrap. So that's everything we get out of this box. So you are going to find, guys, that the 10 series cards are dropping in price quite drastically. I was going to get a 1066 with my first purchase. I think the 1066 would have been good because it doesn't need any additional power than the 450 power supply. It powers from the PCIe lane that you insert it to, so you wouldn't have needed an external power for it or additional power for it. But the 1080 is more powerful, and it was the same price when I saw it, plus you get the power supply, right? So I could sell a power supply and this card would end up costing less than the 50. However, how much less, I don't know. Power supply 10 quid, 20 quid, so maybe the card is actually costing me 30, 40 pounds. I think that's a credible deal. Let me know what you think. Let's plug in this power supply and make sure this works. Then we've got to check the motherboard and the card to see which PCIe it needs. It doesn't matter if we don't have the right PCIe, it just won't perform as well as it should. So let me get this set up and test the power supply. The power supply hooked up to my tester. Don't know if I've done it right, but let's see what happens. Not done right. 6-pin, 8-pin. Okay, so I've got the power supply hooked up, no other cables attached, just the CPU and the power bar. Let's turn it on and see what we get. Okay, there we have it. It seems to be fully working. We've got 5 volts, 12 volts, 3 volts, 12 volts versus the 12, 12, 12. We've got 390 PG. I think that's pretty good. Let's see what happens when we connect PCIe. So we're not going to need this. So yeah, something strange happened when I tried to test the PCIe. It shut off. So I think there's a safety mechanism in here which I need to try and reset somehow. Oh, I blew the fuse. I think I'll have another fuse. Let's try another fuse. Okay, have another fuse. Try this. I know they have a safety mechanism, so I think that's just switched over. Don't know how you switch it back. I think this is the way. Yes, okay, maybe I blew the fuse. Oops. Alright, so the safety mechanism kicked in, or the fuse blew, and I don't think we can test the PCIe slots, or I've got to be very careful, because I've never had one of these before, on which one of these powers the GPU. Got to be absolutely sure. Okay, let me figure that out. Okay guys, so we know that works. I'm guessing you can use any of these two here for PCIe, and I've figured it out. So this side is for CPU, and this side will be for GPU. So I'm going to plug this in this side. Yep, all good. No beeping, 390 PG, everything seems to light up well. Also, we're going to need SATA connection for our hard drive. Turn this off again. And for that, I guess we just use any of these. It says peripherals, and all of those light up. 12, 3, 5, no beeping, so we've got a good working power supply. Excellent. So happy with that. Alright, let's clean it up, and then we can check the specs of my current setup to see if this card will go in. Alright, cables are clean. It gets a lot dirty. With the fan, I'm just going to undo this. I think you could just take this screw off and clean the fan. Yeah, that's pretty cool. So you don't have to get into the danger areas, although it is dusty down there. Probably would be a good idea to open it up, which is very dangerous and risky, but I will do it. Okay, yeah, you can easily clean the fan like that, but I don't know if you can see all the way down inside there. There's a bunch of dust all caked on the components. So I think I'm going to take this shroud off and try and get to the bottom and clean it. I don't know how, but yeah, I'll figure it out. Okay, so we just took the top bit off, and as you can see, there's a bunch of dust in there that you couldn't get to, and all of these components are caked, and over time that will damage it. So although I don't recommend you going into your power supply, just don't make sure you don't touch nothing, especially these big capacitors. Put a vacuum over it and just see if you can hoover it up, and then obviously clean the backside of this fan. But yeah, I don't recommend you do this if you're not experienced. Don't bother, because it's very dangerous in here. Alright, there we have it guys, one clean power supply. And just in case you are going to touch it, I don't touch nothing. I use a plastic toothbrush. These are the things you got to be careful of, these round, any round components, capacitors they're called, because they store the power and they don't dissipate for a very long time. So that's where the power is. If you touch those, you could die. In fact, you probably would die. So don't touch anything. And I don't touch anything. I literally use the hoover, and again the hoover's plastic with plastic nylon bristles, so no static, no nothing. But yeah, I don't recommend doing it yourself if you're not experienced, and even if you are experienced, I still don't recommend it because it's very dangerous. Alright, let's put this back together and test it to make sure we haven't broken it. There we have it, it's all back together, looking super clean, so happy with that. One thing about PC guys, right, is they get dusty, like a lot. Okay, and let's just test this all working again. So power. Yeah, fantastic. 3.9 PG, 390 milliseconds, no beeping, everything's good. Fan is spinning. Oh, that's super quiet. Can you hear that? No, neither can I. Alright guys, we're happy we've got a power supply that's working fully. Now it's time to go over to the machine and show you and figure out if I can put this in my current setup. This GeForce Asus Strix Gaming Graphics Card 1080 VR Ready GTX. Yeah, lots of initials. Okay guys, we're going to check out to see if my motherboard is compatible. See if you are familiar with this spreadsheet. Here's my motherboard tab. This is in dark green. This is the current motherboard I have. I do have a similar, if not same, maybe a bit better AMD motherboard, but we're using the Intel motherboard, and we'll check down below here, expansion slots, and we have PCI Express 3, so we're matching the card. Now for the power supply, this is my dream. I don't show it here, but on here I've already put in the 650 power supply, so we're going to be using the 650 power supply because the 450 can't handle it. I'll tell you for why. If we go to the GPU tab now, which I've now inserted the Asus Strix 1080 specs, and we go down to the power supply, it says 450 watts just on its own for the power supply. So if I put 450 in here, it's telling me I need at least a 682 power supply. So actually this 650 is under, but should be okay, I'm thinking, because we've got 540 there, we've got 621 there, so really all that's bumping it up is the fans and the storage devices. So we may have to get a bigger power supply, so we don't have much headroom. We don't have any headroom here. We're actually over what I'm recommending. So but we know that it works, so I don't know for how long and whether this would affect the card. Oh, actually we've got to put the new card in here, so we are going with this card, and we've got to put the price from brand new and from eBay and what I paid for it. Well, I paid 0 because I'm using the dividends, and to buy this card brand new,
was £510, and on eBay you can get it between 150 and 180. So let's put 150. This is actually going down now, so keep your eyes peeled, you'll be able to get it. So to get this system that I currently have is going to cost 429. I got it for free, and if you was to buy it brand new from back in the day or whatever, new parts, it's a £1,100 system. That's all the other stuff I have here. Okay, now I did try and see if we can guess what this card is going to do FPS wise, using in my opinion, what matters on a graphics card. And I've worked out there's some pretty big numbers. Now I do know these don't have as much of effect and probably skew the numbers, the memory clock transistors, etc., but I'm doing it. And down here, so we should see roughly 2000-ish, 2500-ish FPS increase. But because I include the base clock and transistors and stuff, kind of skews it a bit, but it halves it. So I'm expecting a 1271 increase. But also, this card didn't have certain things to compare against, which I usually do. And I don't know what 10 GPS effective means. It is GDR5X, and it didn't have FP16 half teraflops at all. So I had to adjust my calculations just a little bit to see what we would get. So I'm expecting on Heaven 115 FPS at least, or over, because this card is a Strix from Asus, over 2900 score, about 137 on Destiny 2, so that would be good, 205 on Counter-Strike, 411 on Eve, Battlefield about 1300, and GTA 3400 FPS in total. This is what I'm expecting, on my opinion, based on the calculations that I do. So let's see how true that rings.
Super good news. Motherboard can take PCI Gen 3. This is PCI Gen 3. We will need to use this power supply because we've got 450. The graphics card needs 450. You at least need 10-20% headroom. So we've got to be above 450. Oh yeah, also 450 would have been just for the graphics card. Plus you've got all the components, motherboard, RAM, hard drive, solid state drives, and all of that. So you will need more. So let's get the computer on the desk. Let's get this graphics card installed, see if it works. If it works, we're going to then clean it, and then we can test the gaming. Alright, let's get this transformation on the go. Here she is. So the first thing we gotta do, change out the power supply. We've got a Corsair, so this was a Corsair as well, 450. So we've got to take off the back as well. Alright, we've got to start disconnecting all of our parts to get the power supply out. Okay, this is going to be a big job, guys. This is going to be a big job. Let's start with this pin here. CPU disconnected, motherboard disconnected. Then we've got to get to the back of these for the SSDs. I think that's about it, really. Oh, and the hard drive. So yeah, we've got quite a few things connected, which we may not have enough. Hold on a minute. I may need more of these power distribution, but I'm going to be able to... Yeah. Okay. Alright, let's see if we can get this. There we have it, one power supply out. And the good thing about this power supply is that it had multiple connectors for more hard drives, right? I had at least 2 cables with a bunch of hard drive connectors on it, and I think I only have one with what I have at the minute. So I think you can obviously buy another cable with that, but I'm gonna need to if I want more drive. But that's okay, we can live with that. While we're in it, we can remove the graphics card. Should be a clip here. Yep, press down. There she is, served me well, the GT710. Look how small it is, from Asus. Appreciate you, little buddy, you did well, but we're going bigger. Alright, so let's get the power supply in. Looking pretty clean in here, so no need to do any cleaning. We recently cleaned it not so long ago when what did we do? Was it the RAM? I can't remember what we increased last time. So yeah, let's get the new power supply in and see how that wires up. The Corsair CS650M, if anyone is wondering. Which way round would you go? So I'm going with the fan facing downwards, so it's going to suck air through the bottom, like so. Yeah, that's cool. I can access all of the cables there. Alright, let's get this screwed in. So I'm just going to screw the power supply to the case now. Job done. Right, let's now route the wires, cables, connect them. Alright, so the first ones I brought through are the ones for the CPU and the motherboard. So I'm just going to route them back in how they came. Alright, let's plug up the million pin one to the motherboard. Oh yeah, that's another thing. I didn't even realise it may not have connected, but it does fit, so we're good. Make sure it's properly seated and pushed all the way in. And now we've got to try and get this CPU one connected, and it is the 8 pin, so we're good. It's all the way over there. Right. Okay, so we got the CPU connected, we got the motherboard connected. Now we got to get all of my peripherals connected, and then we can connect up the GPU. Almost there. Alright, we managed to do it. So we have been able to connect the CD drive, 2 SSDs and the hard drive. We did get rid of this part of the MOLED connector because we don't have it. This was a fan connection, but luckily there was another fan connection on the board, but it was a 4-pin, not a 3-pin. So I'm not sure if I can use it, but I tried it, plugged it in, we'll see if it works. That's it for this side. I think we can close this up unless the GPU, do we root the GPU? Okay, it's time to put the GPU in, but I think before we do that, let's give it a quick clean on the fans, but everything else seems to be clean on the heatsink, so hold on. Okay, just clean up the GPU. Now it doesn't come across on camera. When you see it on TV, these fans look massive, but they're really small and cute, and I just want to take a moment to acknowledge this card, because wow, I've not had a card like this. This is the best I've ever had. Look at the difference. There's a nice metal backplate on the bottom. Obviously there's power connectors. This will probably light up, it looks like. Then the 3 little cute fans, heatsink, and then there's a motherboard inside of it, which is absolutely massive. I have no worries about it fitting in this case, because this case is huge. But yeah, it's just a really, I didn't think graphics cards were like that. They're just really neat. I like it. Alright, let's get it in. See, hopefully it fits. It's a dual slot, which I've already made space for here. And I'm glad they put a backplate on here so that you can't damage the bottom. Put it in. I'm going to go with the top slot here. I believe that's the PCIe 4 or 3, sorry. Alright, here goes nothing. Okay, I said I thought it would fit, but only just, holy cow. Okay, yeah, she's in, guys. I had to push it down quite some force until that switch flicked up to make sure it's properly in. But she just about fitted. Height wise, we're good. The tower's higher than the card, but length wise, that was a bit of a perfect fit, to be honest. But yeah, tight fit. So we can route this round the back and come out this grommet and then try and connect here. So let's do that. Okay, so I've routed the cable round the back for the graphics card, and I guess now we connect it. 6-pin here. Man, you gotta play around with these things. That's gonna be in the way, so let's try and put this one in first. Right, she's in, and then push down hard to make sure that they're properly connected, because you don't want those messing about. And then I've got this thing hanging out. Alright, hopefully we've connected that correctly. Push down, make sure, got the clicks all on. We're ready to power up, guys. Let's plug it in and see what happens. Okay, we're all plugged in. I'm not connected to a monitor yet, but let's just see what happens. If the fans spin, that's a good sign, right? Or if it blows up, then it blows up. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Power. Oh. Yes, we have life. Okay, all 3 fans are spinning. These fans are spinning. And all the front fans are spinning. So we've managed to also not need this cable. Oh, it just turned off. Now it's turned back on. What is that? Why is it doing that? Okay, let's see if we can plug up a monitor quick. Okay, I've just checked it. Everything seems to be booting up. So just put it back in its position. Play around. The cover's back on. Right, guys, there she is, back in her place. All plugged in. Monitor's all plugged in. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it still powers on. There goes the GT 1080. Let's go, people. Turn the monitors on. Oh, there we go. It's booting, so Windows is reset. Yes! We have a picture. We don't have a picture on this one. Why is that? Settings, maybe? There we have it. I just had to turn the monitor off and on. Don't know why. That's what HDMI cables do sometimes. But it looks like we are up and running, guys. And look at that. There is a difference. This picture image is much sharper. This is at an angle, so you won't see that properly. But yeah, that looks okay. Alright, let's run some benchmarks before we can close her up. But check her out, guys. The new 1080 for free. We've joined the elite gamers. We're going to start gaming. Alright, we're not with the 5090 people, but we are getting there, guys. We are getting there. Alright, guys. First up is going to be the Heaven benchmark, DX11. We're going to press run. I also have HW monitor on, and here's the nvidia GeForce GTX 1080 showing there. Our hotspot at the moment is 61.7, 57 minimum, 62 maximum. Running currently at 50C. We're just going to keep an eye on that, make sure it's all running, or we may have to put new thermal paste, you see. Alright, let's run this benchmark. Okay, the benchmark is just finished, and we did get a score, which I put on the screen now, 210 FPS with a score of 5,296, and the GPU got to a hotspot of 80.7, which is okay, so we're good on the thermal paste. Excellent score. Let's try Destiny 2. Alright, we're going to use our Hall Effects controller for this one. Alright, we're in Destiny 2, opening screen. 160 FPS I saw there, guys. Wow. Alright, this is much better. Holy cow.
It's quarantined now, and quite dangerous.
Yeah, 157 FPS, 160 FPS. Top right corner, guys. Oh wow, this is much player. This is playable, super playable. Look at that, guys. Solid 180 FPS. So I reckon about average 150.
Thank the light. I didn't think we had other Guardians on patrol here.
Alright, let's try the next game. Okay, Counter-Strike was taking too long to download. I must have unloaded it. So let's try Eve. Alright guys, we're on Eve and it is struggling, is that right? 8F, oh, 20 face. Okay, hold on a minute. What's going on? It's not loaded up. Close this. 40 FPS. 41, not bad. Temperatures are at 50. We're only using 19%, 30%. This is a bit weird. Jumping around a bit here on Eve, but oh, there we go. Look at that. 60 FPS. Solid 60 now. Let's see when we undock. There we have it, guys. We're in orbit. We're getting 60 FPS. There's my little ship. Steady 60 FPS. Lots of RAM usage. And about a 40% on the CPU and GPU usage. 50 Cs. So the GPU is super cool. Alright, let's try Battlefield and then GTA Vice City. So this is Battlefield 2. I can't get the screen capture to record this, so there you go, there you have it. It's 100 FPS, so that's pretty good. I think it's capped out 100, it's not moving. And this is GTA. Look at that, 4000 FPS just on the start screen. Let's see what it is in game. Alright, look at that, guys. It looks like we're getting over 400 FPS, 450, 500, 600, 650. Alright, that's insane. Okay guys, so we've got the results. Let's see how we did in our estimations. So it looks like Heaven, we exceeded it by quite a bit, 210. Destiny, I know the score here for Heaven 5296, again by an increase from what we had and what we estimated. Destiny 150, that was pretty close. Counter-Strike we didn't do. Eve was 60, but it was fixed there, it doesn't move and then it jumps around a lot, so that's a weird one to probably test on, I don't know. And then Battlefield 2 is 100, but that wouldn't move, so it was capped out. And then GTA Vice City, we did see 4000 on the load screen, but it went down to 650. So yeah, the estimations were not quite on the button, but some of these games, I mean, Destiny 2 was bang on the button, really, and these older games didn't really make sense with the card, I guess. I don't know why we couldn't get this to accurately predict the FPS increase, but we did see quite a significant increase. So when I did my first calculations and I thought over 1200 FPS, I thought that's crazy. And then if you go to the actual pixel rate and the flops, it is about 2500. So if we did a calculation here of what we thought the increase was going to be, so we got 210 instead of the 8, it is 2500. So yeah, pretty happy with that score. Let's put these new scores in. So we are now sitting at 210 for this, we are sitting at 5296 for this one, 150. We didn't do Counter-Strike. We're probably going to remove these games actually because they're too old to really count now, so we won't be doing these games again. So we'll stick with Destiny's pretty newer of those games. And yeah, that was the calculation. So it was pretty close on the newer game, which I think it was built for. It wasn't close on Heaven, but I heard Heaven's a bit of probably not the best thing to use. And our temperatures were at 60. They were still at 60, right? So our temperatures for the GPU are still at 60 and the CPU is not going to change. What do we got up here? So we need to increase our power supply cost. Well, it's probably going to cost you that much anyway. You could probably still get it for that. Do need to bring down our power supply, and we're probably going to be doing that by removing this HDD drive and just have SSDs. But make sure you come back for the next upgrade because I will be dealing with that. And yeah, there you go, guys. What do you think? Let us know. If you want to see the dream PCs, Intel and AMD, the links are in the description below. Let me know what you'd change. Appreciate you. That'll be it for this one. It's a pretty long one. Thanks for that. And we are finally able to game on this PC. Might have to change my monitor though because the refresh rate's not as great as we can possibly get, so that's another thing. And I appreciate you. See you on the next one. Peace.